there is a center that quietly supports our spiritual ascent. The Mooladhara Chakra. Humble, yet powerful. It forms the root, the foundation, and the seed of our innocence. It holds the key to our deepest spiritual growth and shapes how we connect with our true essence. The Mooladhara is unique. While the Kundalini rises and gently pierces through the chakras, the Mooladhara remains untouched, steadfast in its role. It silently fulfills its purpose, allowing the entire process to unfold in a natural and balanced way. You might wonder, why is it there? What's its purpose? The Mooladhara is like a silent guardian, always observing and quietly gathering information. It records everything. Our actions, desires, the people we meet, and even the thoughts that cross our minds. And this center doesn't just record the events of this life, it carries the impressions of many lifetimes, carefully preserving them and passing this knowledge on to the Kundalini. And from this very center, our innocence blossoms. When we remain pure and simple like a child, the Kundalini rises effortlessly, eager to lift us higher. But if that innocence becomes clouded by complicated thoughts or actions, the Mooladhara gently signals the Kundalini, not just yet. There's still some work to be done. But after realization, something remarkable happens. Even if life has worn away our innocence over the years, it returns. The Kundalini's ascent brings back that childlike purity, the sweetness of innocence that may have been buried for so long. This rebirth of innocence removes layers of conditioning. As we reconnect with this part of ourselves, we find joy in simplicity, and life feels light, unburdened by the weight of past experiences. As the Kundalini rises, it carries with it everything that has been stored in the Mooladhara. Our past impressions, our unresolved issues, and even our desires, softly whispering, "Let's correct this now and move forward." She gently works through these echoes, correcting what needs to be adjusted and leading us towards greater spiritual clarity. The transformation that follows is nothing short of beautiful. We become more self-aware, more attuned to the purity within, and we begin to experience a profound sense of peace and joy. After realization, we begin to honor our chastity, whether we are men or women. This doesn't mean abstaining from physical intimacy, but rather it's a shift in how we perceive ourselves. Physical urges and desires do not guide our spiritual ascent. Spirituality is far beyond the physical realm. It's a higher journey, one that leads us beyond more bodily experiences into the realms of higher consciousness. We start to value ourselves more deeply, respecting the divine energy within. The Kundalini's purifying power helps us shed what is unnecessary, leaving us fresh, renewed, and full of self-respect. And as we experience this transformation, the world around us becomes a more radiant place, full of love, light, and peace.
You may be identified with any cult, with any idea, with any group or anything, but always must know what you have got out of it. For example, I would say for Christians, it is necessary to know that Christ has said a very strong thing. Thou shalt not have adulterous eyes. Let us find out, do we have innocent eyes? If we don't, we are not Christians. How do we have innocent eyes? How do we develop our innocence is the problem. And to develop our innocence, we have to awaken the Kundalini. When the Kundalini is awakened, the first center of innocence is awakened. At that time, all the excretion work of the body just stops. And this center of Mooladhara informs the Kundalini that there is somebody who knows the job and you can rise. Then only the Kundalini rises. This center of innocence is first awakened within us. If this center finds that the person is anti-God, he is anti-Christ, he is a man who is a devil, or any sort of a thing, it just does not allow the Kundalini to rise. I have seen people with absolute frozen Kundalini. I have seen people who have nothing to do with Kundalini. We can say they are just like devils, and they have no way that they can be realized. But 99% people in this world are excellent people, good people. And out of them, I think at least 30 to 40% people are seeking God. Not all. Some are seeking money, some are seeking power, and some are seeking some personal indulgences. But there are definitely true seekers on this earth, and these 30% people are, or 40% people are the most important people from the God's point of view. You might be anything. You might be having any organization. You might be having any position in life. You might be any great personality. Makes no difference to God. What is important is that are you seeking? If you knock, the door will be open, has been promised. But if you think you have already achieved it and that you are there, how can it be worked out? So one has to be humble about it and allow the Kundalini to rise in its own glory, giving you your real beauty. Now the thing we have to know that as the Kundalini ascends, we also start getting powers. The first power is that of innocence. Innocence has a power above all other powers. It's the most powerful thing. But in the human beings, it takes time for innocence to be awakened in the full way. It takes time. As a child, they have the innocence. And in childhood, if they get their awakening, that's the best thing that can happen to human beings, that in childhood only they get the realization. But as soon as you start growing, your attention starts going either to the left or to the right. You start indulging into all kinds of things as far as your sex is concerned, as far as your seeking is concerned, and you then jump on to some sort of a wrong thing which you should not have done. And that's how the first center gets lost. An innocent person is looked after by angels. Such a person has no fear of anything. He is not bothered. He is never violent. He is never hasty. He is never in a temper. He is so peaceful, and he knows that what he is doing is the right thing. Such a person stands by righteousness. Like you can see in the life of Christ, is a very good example. That very Mary Magdalene was stoned by people. He stood up and he said, among you who has done no sin can throw the stone at her. Actually, Christ had nothing to do with a prostitute. He had no relationship of any kind with her. She is a prostitute and he is the Son of God. But at that time he did feel that she has a right to exist, because those who are stoning her are the people who have committed also sins. Only she is a person who is exposed, and he stood by her. And that is what happens to a person who is innocent. He is fearless. He has no fear of anything, because he knows that he stands on truth and on innocence. Such a person also has a capacity to bear up lots of nonsense, to laugh at lots of tortures and troubles people bestow upon him. And the greatest thing of innocence is that it gives you discretion. Such a person is immensely discreet. He is so wise. He may be a little child, he may be a grown-up person, he may be a villager, he might be educated, he might be uneducated, but he is so wise that he sees what is right and what is righteous. And this is the greatest quality of an innocent person, that he is very discreet about everything. His discretion is just like a straightforward hit. He doesn't have to think, he doesn't have to bother. Whatever he decides is absolute discreet, and he doesn't have to have choices. He doesn't go on choosing people, he doesn't go on choosing things. He said, this is the thing, finished. So such a person becomes absolutely dynamic, because he doesn't waste any energy, he doesn't waste his brains, he doesn't waste his arguments with anyone. If he thinks the person is worth arguing, he'll argue, otherwise he'll say, all right, you are clever, go ahead. This is the understanding of a person who is completely discreet. Like there was a very big joke about it, that there was a man who was going up the road, up the stairs, and another one was coming downstairs. The one who was going up the road was a wise man, and the one who was coming down was not a wise man. So he tried to be aggressive, and he told him that I will not move for you because I don't move for fools. So the other one moved on one side and he said, I do. Meaning I move out for fools. See, but he said I do, and he moved out. So he has such a discretion how far to go and how far not to go.
My realization was an intense experience, and then I remember I was meditating on this little picture, and I really very much fell in love with that person in the picture. I was just fascinated by her face, by her beauty, by her majestic, looks, and I really loved it. But it was always on a, I was just kind of, I remember I had the Devi Kavach written down by hand because somebody borrowed me and allowed me to transcribe it from his book. And then I had also the mantras written down. That was all I had. And I was, just every day I put my picture there and I was reading the stuff and I was meditating. And then, then I went back to Germany, and then I met Shri Mataji for the first time, and it was, she came for Kartikeya Puja to Munich, and I remember the day after the Kartikeya Puja, we all went to the airport to bid her farewell because she would travel on to, I believe, Vienna. And I remember she was sitting on the bench, and there were people, sitting around her and in front of her on the floor and standing around. And we came, and we were then looking at this whole thing, And then she saw me standing there, and she said, "You come here, sit down here, sit here." And she kind of made me sit next to her. And then she said, "What's your name?" And I said, "I'm Philip Shimataji." Then she looked at me kind of very intensely, her look when she opens her eyes, and she said, You have to stay in Sadhu Yoga. Okay, I said, "Yes, Shimataji." Yeah. And then I was just remembering how I was sitting there very shyly, and she kind of, continued talking to other people, and I just felt, that just, like I'm sitting next to this enormous mountain personality, and I felt how everything turned silent. I felt like, I didn't hear anything anymore. I didn't see what's going on in this airport. I was just sitting next to her, and I felt, this is a very important moment in my life. My life will be completely different when I belong to her. This is what was very intense, very strong, and it was like she just took me and gave me a new life in that moment.
Thank you for watching our video. Shri Mataji's words are the true source of our knowledge. We hope they have been communicated in the right context for our series on advanced Sahaja Yoga themes. Please subscribe so you can join us next time when we present a new topic. Jai Shri Mataji.